Hello and welcome to the Pickup WNBA podcast. I'm your host, Catherine Eicher.
And I'm your other host, Freddie Rivas. What is up?
Oh my God. And this is episode 120.
It's episode
120, baby.
120, 120. Here we are. And guess what? Here I am telling you to follow us on all social media platforms at the Pickup WNBA podcast, YouTube, Twitter, soon to be Blue Sky, Instagram. And guess what? We have a survey that a lot of people have filled out already.
Yes.
And we're hoping, to get as many people as we can. It's for ACAST, it's for our podcast hosts, the Sonar Network, and for us, Freddie and Catherine at the Pickup. It's basically just like a bunch of like, what do you like about the podcast? What do you not like about the podcast? Type questions, as far as advertising, like what do you want to hear? What do you not want to hear? And we're always getting feedback and hearing stuff from our listeners. So this will really help us. So please, get in there and be honest and tell us what you think, because it's going to help us tailor it to our listeners more.
Um, yes, absolutely. Thank you everyone who has filled out the survey. And if you haven't, but you are a regular listener of the show, it will help us out so much. So thank you again. Freddie, do you want to before we jump into, the March Madness coming to a close and Paige being a champion and all of this, do you want to tell us a little bit about your Nashville adventure this past
Yes.
weekend?
Yeah. So I went to Nashville for my brother's 40th. It was a blast. Um, I was able to watch a lot of NCAA, which was awesome. And I think th- this will be obvious for our American listeners, but for our Canadian listeners and listeners around the world, it is so nice to be in a place that loves basketball, because
Hmm.
in a music place like Nashville, everywhere's got the game. Like every bar we went into
Oh, cool.
just like has the games. Do you know what I mean? So there was no like, can I watch South Carolina versus Texas? Like the bartender was like, "You guys like basketball?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Bang, volume on," and it was just really really
That's
nice.
really cool. Like
So
here,
that
like we like in Toronto, like people like sports here, but it's a variety of sports
yeah, so you have to kind of fight. It's hockey, and like often you have to like sort of fight for there to be like basketball.
on the
It's
TV
it, it's gotten
with
better.
volume, with volume.
It's
Yeah.
gotten better, but like you have to sort of like push people around. Every once in a while, they're like, "Oh no, there's curling. We're gonna leave curling." And I'm like, "Yo, this is
Can I
crazy."
listen? Can I just have a moment here? Okay, this is like a very specific Canadian rant.
Sure.
So on TSN, this with the sports channel, it's our ESPN, I guess,
Mhm.
essentially. They had and there's different channels, right? Like there's TSN 1, TSN 2, just like there's ESPN, blah 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 blah. TSN 1, the main channel during March Madness Final Four had, I promise you this is not, I'm not just making this up, top 50 curling plays.
See,
So
that's
not
shameful.
even an actual match, not even like a live game, but just a countdown
Nah,
of the top curling plays, and I was like, "How is this possible? How is this instead of, like, even, like, a pregame show?" Like, if, like, the main channel was gonna, like, cut to the game after or something like that. That is crazy. Like, I find it hard to believe that top 50 curling plays, I don't even remember if it's of the year or all time or whatever, is getting more ratings than NCAA Final Four, which was relegated to, like, ESPN or no, not sorry, TSN, like, 3 or 4. Like, it was like, that's crazy to me.
this is absolutely disrespectful, and I think that's exactly what I'm talking about. So again, to our American listeners, you're like, "What is this?"
They're
And
like,
that's
"What's curling? Google
yes,
curling."
yeah. Google curling, and then be even more confused. But yeah. So my Nashville trip was amazing.
Also, if
Nashville,
you Google curling, I don't even know if the sport will come up. Like,
yeah.
curling could be something else.
Might just be like someone getting their hair done.
Yeah, like a curling iron.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But
just
hey,
ridiculous.
Nashville, Music City. It was awesome. I support you getting a WNBA team after being there because you got the Tennessee Titans, you got the Nashville Predators,
Worst
you
name.
worst name ever. But you still got that team. You have you seem like you support your soccer team as well. And you got Vanderbilt. Like there's like it's a sports city for sure. And
Yeah.
also, it is a music city. Like the just how much good music there was everywhere. Like it's wild to walk into a place and there's just like 10 people at a bar and it's like one of the best bands you've ever heard.
Mm.
So that was very, very cool. I went to the Ryman, which is a very famous country music place. A lot of legends have performed there. It was cool to be in there. And another cool place called the Station Inn, which was awesome. It was like it's a lot smaller and sort of like more, I don't want to say up and comers, but like kind of more intimate. Like it was like
Mhm,
probably like
mhm,
a 200 seater, something like that.
mhm.
And lots of good music. On the way home, no good. There was by the way, there was tornadoes in Nashville, and two of my brothers, my oldest brother, my youngest brother, got stuck in one on
Like
scooters.
crazy. Just
Uh,
insane.
so that was crazy. Like yeah. Listen,
You had an adventure.
I'm not used to town sirens going off, but the siren in Nashville went off. Okay, so
I
you
don't
got
know
the
if we even have a town siren.
yeah.
I
What would
don't
it be like?
I don't think
Oh,
I don't think we
snow's
do.
gonna accumulate over 3 days.
It just freezes over.
So ours, if we had a siren, it would freeze. Okay, so
We
what
get,
that
like, alerts on our phone, but that's it.
yeah,
I
that's
don't know
fucking
what they would have even done prior to us having phones that could do that.
yeah.
But anyway, I'm glad you're alive. I'm glad you survived. I'm glad you had a fun time.
It was great. The way home was rough too. Lots of delays, avoiding tornadoes. Somebody passed out on the plane. Stuck on a
God,
tarmac with no water. Delta, I'm gonna write you an email.
you should.
I'm gonna write you an angry email, Delta.
I wrote Delta an angry email. Oh, this is a long time ago, but they responded with a $250 credit towards another flight.
Yeah, so we all on the flight got a $12 food voucher that we had to use in 3 days. Disrespect. So,
Yeah, because
uh,
like, what are you even getting to eat at the airport for $12?
yeah,
Like,
good. Go back and
everything's more expensive than that now.
I'm gonna get some hulls and some gum. Forget about
Yeah,
it.
like, you can't even it's, like, towards a meal, like, you can't get, like, a slice of pizza or something for
Yeah,
$12 at the airport. Um, but glad you survived and you thrived, and your brothers as well.
yeah, we're all doing okay. We're surviving and thriving, and here we are podcasting. You know?
And I don't remember the listener who came up with the Summits as a name for the Nashville team, but it's just the greatest, like, uh yeah, I just love that name so much that I want Nashville to have a team just for that name.
Yeah,
So
but
shout out to them. I can't remember I'm sorry, I don't remember who came up with it, but shout out to you. I
but
still
I'd
love
also
that name.
suggest calling it the Nashville Tornadoes
No,
because
stop.
there was several tornadoes.
Listen, you with the smoke for Toronto, with the tornadoes, like, you're just about these, like, natural disaster names,
Love it.
and we can't be having that.
Corn frogs, let's go.
Oh my god. Alright,
Hey, what
let's move on.
what'd you think of the yeah, let's do it. What'd you think of the finals? The
Well
Uconn, South Carolina.
well, first of all, shout out to UConn. Congratulations.
Yeah.
A phenomenal win. Um, dominated start to finish.
They won it. I'm just looking at it. I thought they did, but they won every quarter.
Yeah, like, it was dominant from the
Yeah.
very, very beginning. Really happy for Paige, really happy for the whole team, really happy for Gino. He kinda broke what some might call, like, a not a losing streak, but, like, he hadn't won since 2016. It adds to his legacy as well, and also too, like, with Paige, like, with her career, she's been in the NCAA tournament for a long time. She missed, like, 2 seasons with injuries, and for her to come back and win one in the end, I think it's incredible, and I hope this is like, great momentum for her coming into the W. So, Shout out to her as well. Also, Sarah Strong had a phenomenal game. Freddie, I don't know if you're pulling up stats. I don't have the stats in front of me,
Yeah,
but
I got it. It's a
but,
huge game.
I don't know if you saw, but Sue Bird and, Diana Taurasi on their show were calling her Baby Jokic, which I absolutely
Ooh.
loved, and yeah, like, that's a really, like that's high praise, it's a great compliment, and, I hope
She
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 continues in that trajectory. Is this
she
sorry, is you sent me some stats, is this oh, this is from the game
That's right, yeah.
season, right? So
Yeah.
Sarah Strong, 24 points, 3 blocks, 2 steals, 5 assists, 15 rebounds? Oh my god, that's phenomenal. Everyone, I'm so sorry about my dog barking in the background. I'm so sorry. I'm
Please tell
like
Catherine it's okay. You know,
like having a bit of a meltdown over it. I
she's got a
love her
puppy.
so much. I love this dog so much. It's kind of crazy how much I love the dog. Um, Paige, 17 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks as well for her. Um, Really great outing for her. I'm just so, so happy for her, and even though we both picked South Carolina to win, I was really happy to see UConn win. I don't know how you felt as a now South Carolina homer, which your wife had to remind you of,
Mhm. Yeah.
and I'm reminding you that your wife had to remind you. Just saying.
Yeah, I was sad.
Hashtag Team Caitlin.
Hashtag Team Caitlin. I was sad about it. I've nothing against UConn, but I first of all, I want it to be a better game, right?
Mm,
And it was just sort of like 19-14 is a pretty good first quarter, but after the second half, there was some separation, and then anytime a finals or like a Super Bowl or whatever, like the end last game of something is anticlimactic like this, it's a bit of a bummer for me because I
mm.
like to see games decided in the last moment. Side note, I was first place in my men's bracket and I had Houston winning. So it was
Oh, wow.
$20 bracket, 57 people. So I was set to win basically $1,100 and then
And then you
Houston
lost.
Houston coughs it up. But we move on. Yeah, I think most of what South Carolina has is depth, so I think they're fine. They're coming. Don Staley is all good. Uh, Maybe yeah, like Tahina Paopao and a couple people will be gone, obviously, but I think Full Wiley's coming, and they're in good shape. It just sort of it wasn't their year as far as, like, I don't even think I don't know if this is fair to say, but I don't even think that South Carolina was the second best team. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I'm not sure who the second best team was, but, like, South Carolina had a string of, like, wins in this tournament where they were kinda just, like, hanging on at points,
Mm.
and then it seems like they just like, the doors just got blown open. So, the best team won, and, yeah, I would have preferred South Carolina win, but as a new homer, it's like I can't stump too hard.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. I only have, like, one sort of observation about South Carolina that I think is a unique observation to me,
Mhm.
and this might be, like, a personal bias, but I'd like to get your thoughts on this, Freddie.
Sure.
So, in the first quarter, like, Don Staley is, like, arguing with the refs, this, that, and the other, as you do, as a coach does, but she was pissed, like, really, really pissed off and, like, angry and frustrated, and I just felt in that first quarter, like, "Oh, I don't think South Carolina is gonna pull this out," and I'm really big on, like okay, this is just my personal philosophy. I think the key to thriving under pressure is to enjoy it. I think you need to enjoy being I need to you need to enjoy the pressure. You need to enjoy the moment. And one of the greatest examples of this is a bit of a niche example, but in the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, 2021, right? Uh Team Canada soccer had a shootout game against Sweden, right? Like went to double overtime, went to shootouts, and the goalie for Canada just had her arms out and she was smiling.
I remember this.
And this is an image that has stayed with me ever since, like, this is the most intense moment you're ever gonna have, right, in your career, right? Maybe in life. It's the Olympics, it only happens once every 4 years, in this case, it was 5 years that they had to wait for this moment. It comes down to
Canada won that
shootouts.
year, by the way.
Yeah, this is the gold medal game. This is it. And she has big, big, joyful smile on her face, and she won that game. And I am really big on having that kind of energy in sports, but also in life in big moments because you work your whole life for that moment. You got to enjoy it. You got to embrace it. This is just like not everyone's going to feel that way. Some people are really like, they thrive on just being like, I don't know, a different energy, but like to me
Mhm.
this was like the key to Phil Jackson's success, even though he had great players, but he won so many championships because he always had that energy about him, I feel. So this is my theory and I just saw like Dawn Staley, we all love Dawn Staley here. She just didn't have that energy in this game, and I felt it in that first quarter, I felt like, "Oh, this is gonna slip away from them because of that." Is that crazy?
Not at all. I'm all the way in on sports psychology. I thought you were going a different direction with this, but I fully agree with everything you said, and I'm just gonna leave that there because I
Yeah, I'd love to know what other people think if they feel the same way. Cause yeah, like, there isn't one way to win, right? Obviously, like, different coaches, different players have won championships with different kinds of energy. It's just a type of energy I believe in,
Mhm. Here
personally.
here's a sports psychology take from me,
Mhm.
and this is specific to basketball. I guess you could apply it to other sports, but basketball is my sport. If you are spending a ton of energy complaining about the refs and being angry at your team, you already lost. And I think
Yeah.
that like losers complain is a really big belief I have when I watch basketball. And like anytime it's like in the post game, and then I'm sure there will be Minnesota fans who are like, we had the right to complain, against the Liberty, that with the way that ended. But
Right.
at the end of the day, I really think when like it's about finding a way to win. And if you sort of like, we're both comedians, and I always tell people like if you can tell how seasoned a comedian is if they're always sort of coming out like into the green room complaining about the audience. They're not a very seasoned
Yeah,
comedian,
yeah.
and they're not sort of like taking the challenge on. Of course, sometimes you do have a bad audience, but that's not. It's about you. It's about what you do on stage. And I think going back to sports, it's what you do on the you know are you enjoying the moment? Like, are you
Mm.
competing? Are you leaving it all out there? And then I think it's a mental game too, right? I think if the refs, if you're obsessed with the calls that the refs are making, you're mentally sort of wavering, I think.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great way to sort of add to my point. Like, I think you can be like so fierce and focused and determined and even like aggressive in sports, but still have like joy there as well and not cave under, the nerves and all these other things that don't I mean, some people can use nerves to, like, fuel them, but other people, sometimes it brings them down, and I'm not saying Dawn Staley was nervous or anything like that, I can't speak
No,
to that, but I'm just saying there was something about her energy in that 1st quarter that I felt like they're not gonna win.
here. I wanted
Yeah.
to say, well, two more things I wanted to say about this tournament, like just because we were talking about like when you brought up Gino. Fun little fact for fans. For I was curious about it. So there's only 5 teams that have won more than two NCAA titles.
Mhm.
Um, so UConn's at the top with 12 now. This brings them to 12
Yeah.
national titles. Tennessee with 8. Then we have a huge drop off. South Carolina with 3, Stanford with 3, Baylor with 3. and then Notre Dame and Louisiana and USC all have 2. So just a fun little fact there. And then the other thing is, there was a really good Kevin Pelton article. But in general, I think as we switch to the draft, a lot of fans are going to be wondering, like, so just how good is Paige going to be in the WNBA? And we don't have a crystal ball, but like, what would you say to fans who are sort of curious about like the next first overall pick?
That's a great question, Freddie. I mean, first of all, I think like especially with the Dallas Wings, I mean, look to Arike Gumbawale to continue to thrive and
That's a
be
good point.
an offensive powerhouse. I don't think Paige is gonna be taking over in that sense, but she's gonna be a facilitator that Arike has never had before, like a different type of facilitator, and I
Hmm.
think, like, that is what Paige is gonna bring as well. Also, she's enough of an offensive threat that she's gonna help with their floor spacing and all different kinds of things. They have a new coach, I believe, so I don't know what kind of system they're gonna be running or anything like that, but I that's what I would be looking out for. Like, she's not necessarily gonna be their top scorer. Arike is one of the greatest, she's one of the best offensive players in the league. She's one of the best players in the league, period. Probably like super underrated because she hasn't been on a team that's made a deep playoff run. But Paige's overall game is going to elevate this team. And yeah, I would be shocked if she wasn't a rookie of the year. But it's the overall game that makes Paige special.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that. I think that her defense as well.
Mm,
Caitlin Clark isn't really known as a defensive player, and Paige just doesn't really have any weaknesses in her game. Like she is going
mhm.
to just be a very complete player. I think that you know part of her brand is just not as flashy as Caitlin's. Caitlin's not a flashy person, but she's a flashy player,
Yeah.
and I think Paige is going to have a lot of like
Paige
highlight.
is kinda the opposite. I feel like she's got a flashier personality, but as a
Yeah,
player is more like fundamentals.
she does talk as a Toronto accent person would say, bear shit on the court.
I've never heard this term in my life.
Men's talk bear shit. Never heard that before?
Listen,
Well,
I trust you, but
you heard
that's
it now. No, it's just she talks a lot of trash,
yeah,
and
that's
I think
some
that she
male
is not.
jungle stuff I don't know.
It is, yeah. But she's not going to back down from anyone at any time. So I think
Right.
you can also really expect like toughness. And one thing I feel like fans might be surprised about is in the same way that it felt like Caitlin Clark didn't really have the respect of a lot of the league right away, I think Paige is going to enter the league and have everyone's respect from day one.
Oh,
Be-
yeah. Wait,
because
you don't
because it,
feel Caitlyn had everyone's respect from day one?
no,
Interesting.
definitely not. I think like with the hard
She
fouls
had
and the
our
like,
respect, but yeah. No, but
yeah,
aren't the hard fouls a sign of respect? Like, that's how seriously they're taking the moment? Or you think those hard fouls because or just they don't like her? But I don't
I
really wanna feed into that narrative still. But if
well,
that's how you feel, it's how you feel.
no, I think there was some of there. I think there was some angst towards Caitlyn, and I think again it was also some of it was respect, some of it was um just like, hey, this person's getting like so much attention. I'm gonna like they're not getting anything easy for me. And like I think with UConn, there's this like championship alumni stuff where
Mm,
like Paige is coming from like like a basketball sort of like mecca place. And but yeah, to your point, like the W is just like the league's just really tough. Like Angel Reese got hard fouls too. So like
mm,
the hard fouls probably aren't a good example, but I think that the players are gonna see Paige as like one of them from day one,
mm.
as opposed to like this different thing that I think Caitlin Clark was like othered in some ways
Right, that's true. I mean, yeah, where
because
Paige is
she was
just
a
gonna
force,
come in and it's gonna be just all love, all respect. I
Yeah.
think all love is maybe more the way to put it, because I
Yes.
think they all respect Caitlyn and her game, but the love was maybe iffy for some.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that this year we're over all of that. I really hope we move
Whew.
on.
Me too. And we've talked about this before, but I think it would be so good for basketball. I didn't put it as a question or anything, but Caitlin Clark actually spoke to kind of like acknowledging her white privilege, which was really awesome. In a recent Sports Illustrated article, she spoke to just being like, "Yeah, a lot of people have like put in hard work for me to have success," and I think like,
Yeah, she's Maya Moore's number 1 fan, and that's
yeah,
why I've always felt like when it comes to this stuff, always felt really good about Caitlyn because I feel like, she doesn't control who likes her or what people say on the internet, but she's good. Like, she's not the problem.
yeah, here, here.
Yeah, but that's good to know, I didn't realize that, so, shout out to her. Freddie, do we wanna jump into some mock draft stuff?
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, I think we do.
Because it's happening this week, right?
It is happening this week.
I'm so burnt out with
I'm burnt
life.
out too. But we got a big draft. It's April 14th. I'm gonna double check that date, but
It's major. What
WNBA
weekday is
draft,
that,
April
the
14th.
14th?
I think that's Friday.
No, it's Monday.
Wow, way off. Monday, yeah, Monday, April 14th. It's Friday. No, it's absolutely not.
That's fine. We'll absolutely be recapping everything that happens with the draft. So, Freddie, where do you wanna start with this?
I think I want to start with we've talked about the prospects a lot, and I'm curious who we think collectively really, really needs to hit this draft. Because
So
there's
not
a
so much which player's gonna go where, because 'cause we've kind of done that on the
Yeah,
show
we've done
already.
that a little bit, and the mocks are what they are. Like, I don't think that it's basically Paige at number one, and then some combination of Dominique Malonga
Yeah.
and Sonia Citron, and yeah, like
Yeah, Kiki, Iriafen.
exactly. Like, so I think like if Kiki went second, it would be like cool. But, I don't think it's basically Paige, and then no one's, like, locked in. Like, me like, we always talk about this, but last time me and you were like, "Angel Reese should go second," and then, like, everyone's like, "That's crazy. She should go, like, 8th," and she ended up going 7th, and we were like, "This is weird. Like, what are we not seeing?" And,
Yeah.
we felt vindicated. I don't have that this year. I don't have someone being like, you know, why is, like, Haley Van Lith 10th?" Like, I don't that's fine. Like, there's nothing really that
Yeah, I'm curious to
jumps
see where
out to
she's
me.
gonna go, but because she's had such a strong, tournament this year. But yeah, I agree with you. Our feelings about that aren't as strong as they were about Angel Reese last year. But,
Yeah.
yeah, in terms of teams that, need to really hit it home this year, we're gonna talk a little bit about, the Mystics and Elena Delle Donne announcing her retirement. But I think, like, this is good for the Mystics in that they can really, like, move forward.
Mhm.
Like, I think, like, the last, few years of Elena's career have been really tough with injuries and, they had some decent runs, not last year, the year before, they were against, the Liberty in the 1st round, I believe, and stuff like that, and they put up a really good fight, but yeah, it's time for them to move on. Um, they got a girl, Alyssa Edwards there. Um, I don't know if she's gonna be a number 1 on a team or a number 2, but
Wait, Aaliyah Edwards?
oh god, yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
Alyssa
I
Edwards is a drag queen.
I I love it. So still a respected performer.
Yes, yes, and maybe, I don't know what else they might have in common, but regardless, um, yeah, it's somebody for them to look to try and build around and have a new, like, young core, and, yeah, I'm interested to see what they're gonna do and how they're gonna move forward from here.
Yeah, with their picks being, I just had it in front of me, their picks being, um, 3rd, 4th, wait, is it 3rd, 4th, and 6th? Yeah, 3rd, 4th, and 6th. I think the big thing that I'm feeling with the Mystics is they have to hit, right? So if there's any like, "Oh, wow, Paige is gonna win Rookie of the Year," but who's the second and third or fourth best players. Like they need to have like I think like two of those names. Like when the 2025 season ends, people need to feel like this player on Washington is like a huge like it's like not if not a franchise player, like it's like a
The
win.
face
Like
of the but also, like, the face of that team. Elena Delle Donne has been the face of that team for a decade, a bit over a decade.
yeah,
So, it's really like, the start of a new era for them.
yeah, and also they've invested so hard in this draft.
Mm,
Like to have 3 picks in the top 6,
mm.
you absolutely have to
You
hit
gotta
on
nail
like
it,
you
yeah.
got to hit on like
But
2
it'd
of
be
those
hard
picks.
not to.
It'd be hard not to, but drafting's hard.
Drafting is hard, I agree. Freddie, did you have another team in mind?
The other teams, I feel like this is more of a cutesy answer, but the Sun are rebuilding. So even though their picks are later, I think if you're the Sun and you have the 8th and 7th pick, you
Mm,
you want to make sure that you hit on one of them, right? Like one of those have to be good. Right now, they're one of the mocks has a just a uh Josiet. I gotta Jacite? I really gotta pronounce that better, figure it out.
hold
It's a
on.
lit
Where
it's
are
a
we looking
Lithu
here?
it's a Lithuanian name. She plays on the same team as, Dominique Malonga.
Oh, there's
Um,
an accent on
yeah,
both
in
E's.
French, we'd say that's an accent aigu, and then the second accent, I don't even know what it is. It's kind of like a dot on top of the E, but listen, we'll get that pronunciation down for sure when she gets into the league. But anyway, she's good, by the way. She's a big point guard and, like, she's got skills. 19
Cool.
years old, and classic Euro. She's been playing professionally since she was 13. Yeah, Europe's different, man. Europe's very different. Their athletes they don't fuck around with
I don't
unpaid.
know why I'm laughing.
They
That's
don't fuck around with
crazy.
unpaid athletes. They're like, listen, send you to high school, you're working. Uh, but and
It's
yeah, and so
true, yeah, 'cause, like, when do you start in gymnastics? Like, 6?
yeah,
Like, so young, probably.
so that's just sort of my cutesy answer. And the other one I think is kind of interesting because of the trade is the Seattle Storm have the second overall pick, and they have a
Mm,
pretty solid roster. So
yeah.
like I'm just looking at the Storm, Nika Mule, Neka Gumake, Skylar Diggins Smith, Gabby Williams,
Yeah, well, Nika
Brown,
Mule, I don't think will be playing this year because she had that torn ACL,
right shit. Um,
when she was playing in the Turkish league, I believe.
right.
Yeah. So she'll miss a year, but anyway, yeah, still a
Yeah, like
pretty stacked team.
Ezzy McBeggar, Erica Wheeler, Jordan Horston.
Yeah.
Like the team is for real, and I think is like easily a playoff team. Alicia Clark, Katie Lou Samuelson. So like
Oh, yeah. I
they have
mean,
a solid team. So if they add a player
well,
like a
I think
Dominique
that's
Malonga or whomever, if they add someone who can contribute as a
I
rotation player,
I think that's why she
they're in
has jumped
business.
to number 2 here, right now that Olivia Miles, has elected to play another year because Dominique Molenga has been playing in France. So to your point earlier, it's like she's already a pro and she can contribute right away. For all we know, she has a relationship with Gabby Williams,
Mm.
right? Like, I think, like, there's probably a connection there, and it makes a lot of sense for her to go at number 2 for those reasons.
But also, there's a lot of guards in this draft. So if you're the Storm, you might be
She's
able
a
to get.
forward.
Yeah, so, obviously they have, some guards. They got, Diggins Smith and, Zaya Cook and Lexi Brown, but, like, Erica Wheeler, but, you could also see if, like, Sonia Citron could look real good for them, right?
Maybe.
Uh, Anyways, so those are my, those are my just thoughts, and then other draft thoughts. Listen, I hope they give Holly Rowe a raise, and that I hope
Yeah, Holly Rowe does the
don't
most.
overwork Holly, you know what I mean? Like,
She does the most during the
she's got
draft.
a
She really
lot of
earns her
hats.
check.
Yeah,
She really earns her check
she's
during
talking
the
to people
draft.
at the dinner tables. She's fucking getting them on stage. She's sitting on a couch. She's walking around. Like, at least give her comfy shoes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know what her footwear situation is. I'm sure she's wearing heels
If
because
Holly Rose sprains an ankle at the draft, that's on you, Engelbert.
it's on Engelbert.
Probably not. But, anyways, hire us and
We love Holly. She does the
we'll,
most.
like we'll carry around Holly's dress. If she has, like, a flowy dress, we'll carry the back like it's, like, you know, the Met Gala type shit. So just bring us in.
We'll carry her train, is what you're saying.
Mm.
You frozen now.
Was
Or you're back now?
I'm back. Am I back?
Yeah, you're back. You mean we'll carry the train of her dress.
That's right.
Well done. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Elena Delle Donne. Um,
Yeah.
Phenomenal career. Sad to see her go, but also like, like I said, she was struggling with injuries for so long. So it's like, well done. Congratulations on an amazing career, fighting back so many years. Freddie, do you want to read out some of her stats?
You know I love to. So here we go. Uh, so she has some really, really cool ones, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so WNBA champion with the
Of
Mystics
course. Yeah.
2019, two-time MVP, 2015, 2019. The only player I know of, and just so no one else is coming to mind, there must be another player. So please, let us know. That has won an MVP with two different franchises
Oh, and the W.
in the W.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's got to be another one, but anyways, that's the only one I know of. Seven WNBA All Stars, four times All W first team. She made All W second team once. She's the only player who's ever made it to the 50-40-90 club. So it's 50% from the field, 40% from three, 90% from free throw, which is insane. Just incredible free throw shooter as well.
Yeah.
Rookie of the year, and then yeah, two All Americans, and just like a slew of other like incredible. She's a scoring champion in 2015, peak performer 2015. NCAA scoring leader, so just very very decorated player. But to your point as well, very injured player. So it's just a reminder in sports that it's when we see these like Diana Taurasi's and stuff, it's kind of like they make it seem as if it's sort of like a given that players will, can play
Play
for
to
a long.
42.
Yeah, exactly. When in reality, sports are just so devastating on the body. It's yeah. So you got to appreciate athletes when you have them. And when we came into covering this league a lot, Delle Donne was already like quite injured, right? So we came in like right after her kind of like, her essentially like her MVP, right? So
Right. Yeah. But congratulations to Elena Delle Donne. Phenomenal career. We'll miss you. Wonder what she'll do next. Really, I don't really have a pulse on that. I'm curious if we'll
she
see her on broadcasts or things like that in the future.
she talked about being involved in basketball.
Okay. Oh, maybe
Yeah,
she can become like a Dawn Staley, like a coach somewhere.
yeah, it's like I forget what the
Ooh.
basketball program is. It wasn't I think it was like a private program. It wasn't college, wasn't
Oh, interesting.
um yeah. But yeah, but it was like empowered basketball. So some sort of basketball program, but yeah, so she's gonna be very involved in basketball.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Freddie, I think it's time to move on to your fun question.
Okay, this is actually a Cathryn fun question, but
All right.
no, she teed me up because it's too good. I had one that we've decided to use later because Catherine's like, did you see what I sent you? And she did this for the right reason because Azzi Fudd had a viral video where she's talking to Holly Rowe, and straight up she's talking about taking shit.
Hoops.
So and
In more than one clip, in more than one interview. So there's one with Holly Rowe where Holly Rowe asks AZ Fudd, like, what's an interesting, characteristic about you that has nothing to do with basketball? And she says, I poop a lot. She does think about the answer, but then that's what she comes up with, and Holly's just like, "I'm sorry, what? Like, this is your interesting characteristic outside of basketball?" Somebody asked her about her pre-game prep. What does she do before a game? She says she always gets her hair braided before a game, and then she takes a big poop before the game. This is the context. Sorry, I
No,
had to cut in.
I love it. It's great. And then, so that made Catherine think. Freddie, Catherine, here's the FFQ. What do you do? Like what's something you keep it real about? Like what's something that you're like, listen, I poo, and that's who I am, and I poo a lot. I poo nonstop, actually.
Oh my god.
Um, you know what I mean?
What has
Like,
happened to this podcast?
so what's something you keep it real about, Catherine? Like, this
So,
if it comes up,
this isn't the funny answer, but it's a real answer, and then
okay,
maybe you'll have the funny answer this week.
sure.
My real answer is, like, if I have cramps, you will know. I just I don't shy away from this topic, I will tell anyone in my vicinity that I am in pain, and you just have to deal with it. I'm not toughing it out is what I'm trying to say. I toughed it out for years and I'm over it. And listeners to this pod, I had a whole surgery back in September related to this. Like, I had endometriosis, I had fibroids, I was dealing with things that were beyond the regular, female stuff, we'll just say. But even before I knew all of that, I was like, "I will tell anyone I see I have cramps today." I've talked to you about it, Freddie. I will, it doesn't matter. Girl, guy, boss, intern, neighbor, mom, my brother, it doesn't matter. If you're in my vicinity, you will know.
I
It's
love it.
not the funny answer, but it's true. I've
No, it's
just
great,
always been very open about this topic.
as you should be,
Like
as you
AZ
should be,
is.
like AZ is. I
What's
love it.
yours? Well, I think it's gonna be ridiculous.
No, mine's like because I get a lot of stuff I keep it real about too. But I was like, as you were saying that, I'm like, honestly, the realest thing that I can't not because it's who I am is I grew up poor. So I grew up, on government subsidized housing, on, it was called mother's allowance at the time, but like welfare, living off the government. And that's my family story. And so like when it comes to like money and stuff, like I never really
Mm,
I don't like to do that dance of like, oh, we don't talk about money or like any sort of like bouginess. Like I enjoy, the things I have and like blah blah blah. And I don't resent anyone for like, having money, that sort of thing. But I never deny my own. Like I'm never
right,
like because I know a lot of other people who've come up the same way I have. There's this like want to like to pretend that you never were poor and to
right.
be like, "Oh, I was never, I've always had money or whatever." And
Or
for
that
me,
it's taboo to talk about money.
yeah, that it's taboo to talk about money.
Mm,
So I think that for me has always been like in conversation, it comes up quick.
mm,
So like, here's an example. Like I generally am like conflict avoidant, but if I'm in a situation and someone is talking about like, um, people like sort of like being lazy and taking money from the government, I'm always quick to be like, "Hey, so I grew up this way. Do you have any questions?"
right,
Because I can give you direct answers. Because
right.
because I've met too many people in my life who are sort of like they actually don't know what it's like, and it's like, "Hey, what do you want to know?" Because
Mhm,
I will answer
mhm.
some questions for you. Anyway, so that's
I
my
really like this answer.
that's like,
We got real with this one, actually.
listen, this was a get real question. This was
Yeah.
a get real question. So,
I
um,
like it too. I actually think that we should not have as much stigma when it comes to talking about money, because even as you're just trying to, like, come up in your own life, sometimes you don't know that you can ask for more money. And it
for sure.
takes having conversations with friends, with peers, depending on what field you're in, to realize, like, oh, like, someone is making a lot more doing what I do, and I
Mhm.
didn't even know it was an option, kind of thing, right? So
Yeah.
I think, like, have like you don't necessarily want to talk about money to just anybody, but with people in your circle, I actually think it can be really helpful.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Separate
Yeah.
checks.
Yeah. Do you have a silly one? We don't have to.
Silly one. Do I have a silly one? I'm pretty real about like, if I'm pretty real about owning mistakes. So
Yeah.
if I do, I'm a clown, right? So if I do something that I embarrass myself, I can't really pretend that I didn't. Here's a quick story for you. I was teaching a comedy class, physical comedy class, about clown. In the middle of the class, I fart. It's not even very loud fart. I hear it, and I guess the rest of the class, like, they didn't hear it, but because of my instincts, I couldn't even wait. Immediately, just like in my sentence as I'm talking, I'm like, sorry, I farted.
Mm.
And the whole class like erupts in laughter. And then like one guy's like, you didn't need to tell us, but I'm like, but I did. Like, I'm not walking around here pretending I don't fart. Do you know what I mean? Especially if you can hear me
Yeah.
fart.
I'm with you on this. Like I feel like as a woman, as a lady of this world, we're supposed to pretend we don't fart and stuff like that. I'm not going out of my way, but I
Yeah,
don't necessarily pretend either.
exactly. Like if I'm in an elevator, no one else is there and I fart and you walk in, I'm not gonna be like, you just walked into the fart chamber. But you know what I mean? But if it's an audible fart with people around, I will say, pardon me, sir. You know what I mean? Like,
I love that this tipping of the cap gesture has become a thing on this show every week. All right, let's wrap it up there before this gets too crazy.
yeah.
Thank you everyone for listening and for tuning in. Appreciate you. Like, subscribe, leave a positive review. All of that is very helpful. Really looking forward to the draft this week. We'll be back next week to recap it and all that good stuff. And we'll catch you next time.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Fill out that survey. Peace.
Bye.
This podcast has been brought to you by the Sonar Network.